Gambia we tamala, the fi amma mut fanen. Sama mam dana mo wanan, jamareka war. Nya papolo don bena, can dunya mona dara. Reo me sunyu reula, nyepa anda jog. Nunglinyan, jama sasa sunyu reu. Sapante te japante, moy sunyu waref. Burialenyo, gelinyan, nasama sunyu digante. Nyepa mangu te dono ben lolu, la fe mami by you born. Nyepa mangu te dono ben gijamu Gambia.
Jotali makas bilel tanghal masindal biway bonyi be nga nuyul masa papa way oyal ma aji wako mata nena awane ñu magal tobaski ji way genaaw elek noel su passé ba ñu tek ci ñaari semaine sang mari la tam lolu lañ fi xam ben baat lolu lañu am juróom ñaari nit ci ben bool lolu lañu xam arjodo ga tambi nang nuyul masa papa ankira jam bul ma jam jama lañ fi am amut hette amut diine lolu lañ fi bàyyi woon dama ne lolu lañ fi bàyyi woon
No, not the right way. I just let the same thing will happen. Make I just go off again and come back on.
asamaan yalla bana nañu anda gërëm yalla di magal turam momi borom cofeel yalla bana udu yo ey borom bi moo fu ñu dem ku ñu dénka suñu jaxle yalla bana suñu nahar suñu coono dénka nañu la yow borom cofeel yalla bana
Good evening, everyone. I hope you all are doing okay. And you guys are all right. Um, it's been such a very amazing last, should I say, 4 or 5 hours. It's been more than that. Yeah, it's been more than that actually. 6, 7 hours, I should say. It's been amazing. And I just want to say, first and foremost, I just want to say thank you to everybody who's tuned in. Thank you to the audience. And like I always do, if you can please share this page. The reason why I always do that is because the page is new. And it's now that people are really getting to know about the page, because people are used to me doing things on my personal Facebook page, but I'm not using the personal Facebook for the legal analysis that I do. So I'm using this page. So if you can just please just share the page if you're on and you're watching. I mean, with everybody that is watching, if every single person shares it, then it goes widely and people can participate. We are hoping, if all goes well, we might have a bit of, some surprise and stuff, but I don't know how that is going to play out yet. But we're just going to really basically do what we normally do and get on with it. Before I go into the legal analysis proper, there are just certain things that I want to say, and I promised the individual who's a friend of mine. I'm not going to call his name because that is not something I would want to do, but as a person who's a close friend of mine, and of course he feels, I think he's been advised, I think somebody must have said something to him, but I could tell from his post that this individual cannot distinguish between acquittal and discharge in law. So he was given a blanket interpretation, which was like a common sense English language interpretation, But we all know that when we say acquittal and when we say discharge in law, they really have laid down meanings that you cannot seek to give just an ordinary English language meaning that you understand. So the acquittal and discharge process especially it's not especially in criminal matters are completely different and distinct from the English language description. So basically sorry, I'm just losing my train of thought. Somebody just sent me a message which I had to look at. So acquittal. So really, basically, let me go back to today's proceedings. We saw that when the state, okay, I shouldn't do that. I just took it for granted that somebody just sent me a message. So I just took it for granted that by now everybody is aware that Babukar Bob Keita, the trial of Babukar Bob Keita versus the state of Gambia has been discontinued. All charges have been dropped against him, and he left the Gambia High Court as a free man after almost 3 years being subjected to criminal investigation, a criminal indictment, a criminal trial on a single count of rape. Today, the High Court of the Gambia acquitted and discharged Bob Keita after shocking revelations emerged from the DNA sample, the DNA testing that was done in Ghana, where it was determined that Bob Keita was neither the father nor was the alleged boyfriend, the father of the baby, the baby Muhammad, God rest his soul, who passed away. And so on the basis of that, the state filed a nulli, prosecute a nulli, which is basically saying that they do not wish to further continue with the prosecution of the accused person, and therefore all charges were being dropped against the accused person. But we saw in court that the presiding judge was basically asking that the accused person be discharged, and this did not go down well with the defense. So really, people were now asking, and people were making assumptions on social media, because I don't think people quite understand, the public quite understood the distinction between being discharged or being discharged, being acquitted and discharged. An acquittal is a verdict. An acquittal in a criminal trial is a verdict in that criminal case where the accused person is found not guilty of the offense that he or she has been charged with. So I'll make this very clear. I'll go over it again. When an accused person, is acquitted in a court of law, it means what the court is saying is that the accused person is not guilty of the criminal offense that the accused person has been charged with. It means by the determination of facts, by the determination of the evidences that are before the courts, and by the determination of the totality of the case, the courts have deemed that the accused person is not guilty of the offense that he has been charged with, he or she has been charged with. Now, when the person is discharged, When the person is discharged, what it means in criminal litigation, in criminal proceedings, is that there are not enough evidence, there are insufficient evidence to proceed with that charge. So the proceedings cannot ordinarily continue on the basis of the evidence, on the basis of the insufficient evidence to warrant the proceedings to continue, to warrant that charge to subsist, and proceedings be continued in that matter. So therefore, a person can be discharged, but when the state now decides to go and find more evidence, that person can be brought back into court and charged for that same offense, because that person was not acquitted, but that person was merely discharged. So referring to Dr. Tekiani, oh, I said I was not going to call his name, to Dr. Tex, an acquitter is absolutely and substantively saying that the accused person did not commit the offense. This is the definition of acquittal in law. And therefore, no one can spin it around. So this whole business of saying, oh, yes, Bob Keita was merely discharged, he was merely let go because they didn't have enough evidence, but it does not mean he did not commit the offense. No, that is false. That is not true. That is absolutely false, because the defense pushed that based on the totality of the evidence that is before the courts, that Bob Keita must be acquitted and discharged. The state made no objection to this, and the presiding judge proceeded to give judgment, to give a ruling on that basis. And therefore, Bob Keita was acquitted and discharged of the charge that was before the courts. And what this means now is that if you were going to take Bob Keita to court again, you would be actually committing or going against the principle of double jeopardy, where a person cannot be tried for the same crime the second time. So as we speak, until the end of time, Bob Keita is deemed an innocent man. And not only was he discharged because of insufficient evidence, he was acquitted, legally speaking, and meaning that he was found not guilty of the offense. And when a person is found not guilty, common sense dictates, you don't need an English dictionary to tell you what it means when a court has declared that a person has not been found guilty of the offense. It means the person on the law has not committed the offense as alleged. So I wanted to make that distinction before we move forward. So yes, you have a lot of spin doctors, you have a lot of people that are trying to take away the very brilliant effort and all the energy, all the resources that have gone into this trial to try to downplay it. But as long as people like us are alive and are privy to these things, we will continue to robustly rebut and defend wherever we see such, to be honest, in all accounts, nonsensical statements, because they add no value to our present discourse. Now, I saw another post again where a person basically was saying that in this matter of Bob Keita and the state, that there were no winners. That there were no winners, and that people took sides, and it is not a matter of somebody is wrong and somebody is right. Again, this is absolutely false. This is absolutely false. There was a time, there was a moment when we all thought, based on what we saw, based on the unraveling of the proceedings, on the unraveling of the criminal trial against Bob Keita, people felt, and I myself took such a position to ask myself, at the end of the day, is there going to be a winner in this situation? But it seems people run away with things and people don't understand the context by which certain things were said and the circumstances and the moment when those things were said and how those things correlate to actual happenings on the ground of what was going on in the Gambia. Based on the circumstances that we are now, and based on where we are with regards to the trial of Bob Keita and the state of Gambia, which is no more, and based on the evidences that has been admitted, most specifically the Exhibit G, exhibit that was marked G in court today, that was tendered through Superintendent Aban from Ghana, the forensic expert, the case phenomenally, dramatically, factually, legally changed. Therefore, absolutely, there is a winner in this case, and absolutely, there is a loser. Bob Keita has won the case because he was acquitted and discharged by the High Court of the Gambia. In other words, he was not found guilty of the offense as alleged and as charged, and therefore he left the High Court of the Gambia as a free man. So he is absolutely the winner. Now, you go further down and take it one step further, and you say there's nobody right and there's no one wrong. That again is absolutely false. And it is nothing but spinning the situation on the ground. Because we know that absolutely there is someone who is truthful. So there is truth and there are lies. The truth is, Bob Keita has always maintained his innocence. The truth is, Bob Keita has always, from the inception of this case, from the inception of the criminal trial, has said that he is not guilty of the offense and he has never committed the offense. And today the court vindicated him by acquitting and discharging him of those allegations and of that offense. So therefore, there is somebody who has been speaking the truth from the very word go. There are people that believed in Bob Keita from the very word go. Yes, it is, like I've said, not downplaying the efforts of everyone collectively, but like I have said, that yes, there are people that are supporting Bob Keita, but obviously it came with the fashion of the day. It came with the trend of the day. It came with the moment, and people wanted to live and be part of the moment. But there are those that were with Bob Keita from the very start, from when he was under police detention, to when he was granted police bail, to when he was later rearrested, to when he was kept in remand, to when he was taken to court, to when his bail was granted, to the point that he went to the Court of Appeal and his bail was revoked and he was taken back to remand. So there were people and there were individuals that are not there for the moment and time, but there were people that were there that have stood by the truth. So definitely, obviously, there is truth. And no one single person can downplay and say there is no truth. There is truth. And the truth is Bob Keita has always indicated that he is not the father of the baby. There is what is called lie or lies, where a case was being proven to say that indeed Bob Keita was the father. To say that indeed Bob Keita was guilty of the offense. This was the corresponding line of or corresponding case, or the corresponding things that were happening, issues that were going on at the same time, simultaneously. You had the prosecution believing that, of course, he was the father. If the prosecution did not believe that he was the father, a bill of indictment would never have been filed in our courts. The basis of the filing of the criminal indictment, the basis of bringing formal charges against Bob Keita, was done on the auspices, was done on the belief, was done on the knowledge that indeed Bob Keita was guilty of the alleged offense, and merely it was going to court to cement that and get the enforcement of the court and get the blessing of the court to indeed find Bob Keita guilty. So indeed those things now appear to be untrue. So that is not true. So yes, there are some people who were siding with truth, and there were some people who were siding with things that were not true. In the circumstances of what we see, in the circumstances of the evidence that we saw presented and tendered in court, which was admitted in this case, obviously we know without a shadow of doubt that indeed somebody had lied under oath. Somebody has sworn to speak the truth. Somebody has sworn to say the truth. Somebody had taken oath. Somebody had laid their hands on a Quran. Somebody had laid their hands either on a Quran or a Bible, or somebody has affirmed. But it turned out absolutely, with the evidence of the DNA, with the results of the DNA, that somebody indeed lied. Where the DNA held that neither Bob Keita nor the boyfriend, who was the only other person that was mentioned in this matter, were or are the father of that child. So definitely, absolutely, based on the evidence that is tendered in court, based on the result of the DNA evidence, there is somebody out there who is the father of that child, and therefore we know that pregnancies do not occur in oblivion. The wind does not cause pregnancy. So definitely there is somebody who's a father, somebody who was not mentioned in court, and that tells you that indeed there was a lie said in court. So at all times there was a lie, and at all times there was truth. And what we saw today is that truth has prevailed over lie. The next part that I was going to get to, which is the third theory or conspiracy out there, which suggests that because Bob is not the father, does not necessarily mean that Bob did not rape the child, the minor. Now, I will explain that. If, for instance, this child had gone, this minor had gone to court, testified in court to say that, yes, I'm not a virgin. Yes, this is not the only man I have slept with, but this man raped me. That was radically different facts as presented. And therefore, on the basis of that, where a paternity test had proven that the accused person, the alleged accused person, well, the accused person is not the father, that would not absolve him from the offense of rape. Because the testimony that was led by the accused person would have stated that the accused person the testimony that was led by the alleged victim would have been that, yes, I've slept with other men, but this guy raped me. So what you would have to do now, you will have to test the veracity of that rape. So the difference in this case, where people are taking blanket assumptions and trying to tag it to this case, the circumstance and the fact of this case, which is different, is that the witness led testimony to say that she has known no man. She was defiled. She lost her virginity through the accused person. She has never slept with any other man other than the accused person, and that the accused person slept with her. And when the accused person slept with her, as a consequence of that offense, as a consequence of the fact that the accused person slept with her, she became pregnant. You see how the facts are radically different. She is saying, I have only known one man. I have only slept with one man. Me sleeping with that man was done forcefully. I never consented. In fact, she does not have the capacity to give consent. And as a result of that act, because I have only slept with one man, then it would come to a logical conclusion that I can only be pregnant for that one man. But when the situation emerges that indeed you are pregnant, you have led evidence, you have led sworn evidence to say that you have only slept with one man, and it comes out that that man is not the father, it means you have blatantly lied. It means the circumstances, the facts have radically changed. And therefore the question of paternity cannot determine rape falls flat on its face. Because the circumstances are radically different. Because what it means that is that the accused, the alleged victim was having sexual intercourse with another person who is not the accused person. And therefore what it means is that the circumstances were radically different, where it was deemed that the pregnancy was as a result of that accused person. Because if the facts were different, where the accused person, where the alleged victim had stated in her testimony to the investigators, to the court, to say that, yes, I have slept with somebody else, then that would be the determinant factor to see who is it that you slept with that is the father. So paternity would be done. And then you can go further to now look into the arguments of rape. But that fell flat on its face when it was determined that absolutely that witness had lied to the court, because definitely Bob is not the father, the boyfriend is not the father. So therefore what it means is that there is another person out there who is responsible for that pregnancy. And this is the radical distinction. So let nobody come to you and try to give you a blanket interpretation to tell you that, or what is the importance of paternity? Paternity does not prove rape. Yes, paternity does not prove rape in circumstances that are radically different from this. So I wanted to set that straight. These were the three misconceptions that I saw on social media, which I thought was, it annoyed me because they're trying to change the narrative to spin things, and it is wrong. The fact is, the Bob Keita trial has taught the average Gambian a lesson of understanding and knowing that there are two sides to a story. And that before you jump hook, line, and sinker to take a bait, you must ensure that your knowledge base is one that is objective. It is one that is premised on knowledge, on understanding of the holistic totality of everything. And what this case has also proven, especially to those that label themselves as feminists, with the misconception, with the very illogical ideology of saying that a minor cannot lie. Oh, I believe her. I will always believe a minor because a minor is incapable of lying. I saw lines of questioning as to why would she lie? What would she gain from lying? Who would put themselves through such public scrutiny, through such public shame and lie? These were the arguments they made. And these were the arguments that they tried to use to support a very biased, very illogical, and a very ill-intended ideology. So what are they going to say now to the business of a minor cannot lie? What are they going to say to the notion that, yes, I believe her and I will believe her and I stand by her? You have stood by somebody who has absolutely told a lie. She was telling a fib. And this is the fact. How do you reconcile your position, harassing people, calling people rape apologists, calling people all sorts of names, all manner of names, harassing people, trying to get people to be extinct on social media because you wanted to carry on to fuel a particular narrative that was false? And you felt threatened by everyone that challenged the logic of your position. How do you feel today? You must be bowing your head in disgrace and shame. Because indeed, it has been proven beyond a shadow of doubt that indeed a minor, not only does a minor have the capacity to lie, it also shows that a minor has the capacity to spin things. And it also shows that a minor has the capacity to accuse an innocent man who ordinarily, if God had not intervened, would have spent the rest of his life in jail for a crime he never committed, being attributed to a child that he was never the father. All would have happened in the disguise, in the notion that I believe her. Now, I will ask the tech team to take a short break. I'm sweating so bad, I want to adjust the fan. And then I'll come back and then I will break down, even though I gave live commentaries today on today's proceedings, but I will now give the legal analysis of what transpired in court today. And then we will have, a couple of guests who will join us before we close. Mr. Joe, over to you.
I am you are me, we are they, and they are we are Gambia. I am you are me, we are they, and we are Gambia. Let us share love and care for each other. We are one, nothing to despise. Let's put a smile on each other's face to keep us strong. If you lead us well. Cause if you fail, we fail too. If you teach me right. Cause if I fail, you fail too. Pick the one from the ground. Together we can build Gambia. For the Gambia.
Welcome back, everyone. So we'll just continue from where we left off. Um, Basically, um, this morning we saw that yesterday, um, before the matter was adjourned, we saw two things happen that were quite interesting in court. The first one was that the DNA results, the DNA, the results, yes, basically the results of the DNA test was opened in court, in open court um, by Superintendent Aban from Ghana. But for some strange, reason that much, you can't give much explanation to, the report was not read in open court, and the report was the case was adjourned without people knowing what really was contained, or what the results contained. So on and then of course there was another part where the state was trying to get the DNA results admitted in evidence. And if you guys can remember, if you've been following me, you'll remember my argument where I said that, where Justice SM Jallo had said that all the DNA results belong to the court because he was the one that gave the order. I went in to explain how the order did not belong to him, that the order was the property of the prosecution, that it was the prosecution that owned that piece of evidence, and that it only becomes a substantive evidence before the court after it has been tendered in court, and after obviously it has passed the admissibility test, and where then subsequently it is admitted in court. Then at that point it becomes the property of the court, because that means the evidence was now part of things in court that that would make or form the decision of the judge in giving his final evidence with regards to the case. So I did mention that prior to that, there is no way that Justice SM Jallo could go on to and proceed to say that that particular piece of evidence belonged to him, because it was not an evidence at that stage. It only became evidence when it was tendered and admitted in court. So we know, as a matter of fact, that yesterday it was not admitted because LS Camara, which is the senior defense counsel for Bob Keita, informed the court that he was going to object on the basis that he was not served with the result as required by the rules of procedure of the High Court. That there was nothing like trial by ambush, where you would surprise the other party with certain things and expect them to take a position, or expect them to either cross-examine the evidence or look at the evidence or balance whether to cross-examine the witness, or look at the evidence whether to object or not object on its admissibility. So, but we saw that Justice Jallo said to Ellis that if Ellis objects, he was going to overrule the objection. And of course, that was what changed the dynamics of the case, because Ellis got a bit upset and said to the judge, you cannot tell me that you're going to object, you're going to overrule my objection without even first hearing the objection. You don't even know what I'm going to object. You don't know what I'm going to say. How can you tell me you will overrule me? That's prejudicial to me. It means you have already taken a position on something you do not know. But eventually, again, he decided that, okay, fine. Before the end of the proceedings of yesterday, he decided that LS Camara would be served with the results. And at that time, even the prosecution did not know what was contained in the result, because it was still in the capacity. It was still in the, not capacity, but it was still in the it was still with the It was still in the custody of the witness of the state of PW10. So because Patrick had the Patrick Gomez, the state council, the senior state council had made an application that the results be read in open court, but of course Justice SM Jallo had said no. So what we saw yesterday was that the DNA result was not before the courts. It had not been passed. It had not been admitted into evidence yet. So it had not formed part of the evidences before the court. So today, what we saw then was that when representations were entered, of course, you had the state who stood and said they were, there to represent the accused person. They were there to represent the state, rather. And then, of course, you had the defense that was representing the accused person. Now, after representations were entered and everything like that, the Justice SM Jallo now asked lawyer LS Camara to continue with his objection, or to come up with his objection. Remember, this was the objection of yesterday, that the court had said that they would overrule the objection regardless. And now, so remember now what has happened. What has happened is that the defense, LS Camara, now has in his possession the DNA results. Okay, he has in his possession the DNA results now, and of course knows at that stage that the results have indicated that Bob Keita is not the father. And now Justice SM Jallo was now asking him to come and object. Come on, Ellis, continue with the objection. So that was quite funny to me, because Ellis was like, I'm sorry, my lord, I am not going to object anymore because my objection has been overtaken by events. So I don't need to object anymore. And we know, of course, that the reason why he said it has been overtaken by events was because the state had filed a nollie, and they had served Ellis with this. So Ellis knew that this was the position. The state knew. So, of course, formal applications were made in court, and the state, made the application to enter a nollie and discontinue the matter against Bob Keita. And then, of course, in a dramatic, which I thought that was very good on the part of the prosecution, because, yes, they said that he was not the father, but people in court did not know and were not aware of the contents of the result. So Patrick did ask the court that they should hand over the DNA samples, the DNA result, back to Professor Aban, so that they can read it out in open court. So it was read in open court. So basically that was exactly what happened. And then further, we saw that after this had taken place, there was the issue of either discharge or acquittal and discharge, which was what I explained in the beginning of this state. Sorry, I keep taking off my glasses on and off because it's very hot in here and my glasses get foggy. So when it gets foggy, I don't see, because it's all foggy. That's why I keep taking my glasses off, just in case you're wondering, what is this guy doing? Removing his glasses from his face and back. So it's just pretty hot, and it gets foggy when it's hot. So I just take it off. So basically, what we saw was that after all of this was done, Bob then knew, of course, one of the defense lawyers took the results to Bob and showed him what was contained therein. And of course, Bob gave out a big smile, and that sent the crowd into a very, very, emotional and very happy, jubilant mood. And I mean, from the reports from the courts, people were fainting, people were jumping, shouting, screaming. For a moment, the judge lost control of the court. They were trying to get the courts in order, get the courts back to order so that they can continue with the proceedings. But so this was what happened. Now we got to the tail end where it was the bit which I thought was a brilliant move, but knowing that the caliber of criminal lawyer that Ellis is, that was never going to slip past him. So this bit about discharge and acquittal was argued, but to be honest, giving all credit to the state, there was nothing like an objection from the state to this. No objection whatsoever from the state. And lawyer Khadija Tujalo made a passionate plea to the court and asked the court. He referenced the law, he cited the law, he reminded the judge of his powers to acquit and discharge the accused person, and looking at the evidence based on the evidences before the court, and especially referring to the evidence that was, lastly admitted. She said that therefore all indication is that the court must and should acquit and discharge her client. And of course, the judge proceeded to make a ruling on that, and it was granted, and Bob Keita was acquitted and discharged of the single count of rape that he was facing a criminal trial at the High Court of the Gambia. And there, after he was proclaimed a free man, by all indication of everything that had gone on and with regards to the judgment, and he walked away a very free man indeed. And of course, we saw the jubilant moods. We saw people walk from the High Court to Mile 2. Bob couldn't get to his mom's house until probably like an hour ago. I mean, the crowds were unprecedented for such, for such an occasion where a person has been found not guilty by a court of law. The celebration, the mood was electric. It was absolutely fantastic. It was amazing, and I just wanted to be in the Gambia. I really, really wanted to be in the Gambia at that moment. I was so emotional. I just wanted to be part of everything that was going on at that particular moment. Seeing people carry Bob and people chanting. These are people that 90% of them don't know Bob. They've never met Bob. What brought them together is the fact that they felt that this case, this trial, the way that it was being conducted was not fair on the person of Bob. They felt that this guy was held in detention for a long, prolonged period, and this was unfair, and that the way that the case was being prosecuted was kind of like amounting more to like persecution instead of prosecution. And of course, people stepped up. That was the collective or the uniting front of Gambians coming together. I saw people today saying, one old lady was saying she was from either Basse or Bansang, I can't remember, that she doesn't know Bob Keita. She's just been watching, and she knows she has a son. There's another lady that was there that said that she had 2 boys, and it could happen to them, and therefore she felt she had to be part of everything that was going on. This was history in the making, that they believe that this case, this matter, would really, 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 really change. It will bring the change that everybody is yearning for within our criminal justice delivery system. It had put the judicial system, the judicial processes on the spotlight. People saw the unprolonged adjournment of the cases. I mean, long dates. I mean, 33, I think the last time we counted, there were 33 adjournments at the instance of the state, at the instance of the court. The prosecution had a few adjournments as well, and of course the defense too. So we saw, and it just showcased what an accused person ordinarily deals with, when faced with a criminal trial. So that was really the conclusion of the Bob Keita and trial of the state versus Bob Keita, and really, really, really a lot of lessons have been learned. Today, Bob Keita is home. Bob Keita is home with his mother. Bob Keita is home with his family, and we now see the principal, the architect, the source of everything that happened, which is Bob Keita's ex-wife, the sister to the alleged victim, who the courts have now declared is not a victim in the sense of the charges that was, or in the sense of the allegation that was being made against Bob. and now we see that Seinabu is now in remand. Seinabu is in the same vicinity, is in the same place. Seinabu is now temporarily domiciled in Maltu prison, whilst Bob Keita is now a free man, enjoying the fresh air of Gambia, enjoying the love, enjoying the care, enjoying the attention that he is receiving. So really, this is something that nobody expected at the commencement of this trial. Nobody in their right sense of the mind, nobody thought, no matter how remotely, nobody would think that Seinabu Mbai would be in detention today, would be in Mile 2, the same place where as can be seen, it's not my words, these are not my words, she said it on her TikTok, that Bob would never see the outside again, that Bob Keita will rot in jail, that she would ensure that the only time that Bob Keita would never see his kids again, and that the only time that Bob Keita will ever come out of that prison, it would be when they're taking out or removing his dead body from that prison. Well, we have seen that the final arbiter, the final person, the person who has the final say, the person who can really condemn, the person who can make such pronouncement is God Almighty. And once God Almighty has said that nobody can turn, nobody can snuff off your candle, I can assure you that nobody indeed can do that. So today, yes, Bob Keita is outside. Bob Keita is reunited with his family. Bob Keita is reunited with the community. Bob Keita will see his two daughters. Bob Keita will hug them, hold them. And at this moment, Seinabu is in court. Joe, please take a short break. Please take a short break, Joe, if you can. Just a short break, if you can. It's very important that you do this. I have some information that I want to share. Thank you.
Gambia we tamala the fi amamut fenen sama mamda na mo wanan jamareka war nya papolo don bena kan dunya mo na dara reo me sunyu reula nya pa anda jog nang lenya Jama sasa sunyu reu Sapante te japante Moi sunyu waref Burialenyo gelenyare Nasama sunyu digante Nyepe mangu te dono ben lolu La fi mami bayi bon Nyepe mangu te dono ben Gijamu Gambia
Jotali makas bilel tang hal masindal biwai Bonyi be nga nuyul masa papa wai Oyal ma aji wako mata nena awane Ñu magal tobas kiji wai Genaw elek Noel Su passé ba ñu tek si ñaari semaine sang marila tam Lolu lañ fi xam benn baat Lolu lañu am juróom ñaari nit ci benn bool Lolu lañu xam arjodo ga tambi nang nuyul masa papa Ankira jam bul ma jam jama lañ fi am Amut hette amut diine lolu lañ fi bàyyi woon dama ne lolu lañ fi bàyyi woon
sunyu reu Sopante te japante Moi sunyu waref We alenyu gelenyan Nasama sunyu digante Yepa mangu te dono ben lolu La fi mami bayi bon Yepa mangu te dono ben Ngijamu Gambia Gambia rewi jamala Lufi amamut fenen Sama mamna na mawanan Jamareka wo Unye papolo don bena Kendunyu muna dara Na reo misunyu reula Nyeba anda jo Gambia rewi jamala Lufi amamut fenen sa susunyureu Sopante te japante Moi sunyuare We are new Gelinyan Nasama sunyu digante Yepamangu te dono ben lolu La firmame bayibon Yepamangu te dono ben Gijamo Gambia
So welcome back, everyone. And of course, I think everyone is aware at this stage where we are. So we're going to have Nene Frida Gomez join us live from Banjul. Nene is going to join us, so we'll just give her a few minutes. She's trying to come on. We all know how the connection in Banjul is, but Nene is trying to join us, to join the program. She was, sorry, she was in Banjul. She was in the High Court, and she was also, and she is still with Bob. At this present moment, Bob is right now in Nene's house, so we're going to have Bob join us at some point. Come on, say a few words. They're together now in Nene's house, having enjoying dinner. They've just sent me pictures of them eating together. All of them are there, just having a wonderful moment, a wonderful time. The crowd was so large. It was so large they had to move Bob out from his mother's house. So he's now with Nene in Nene's house. And all of them, all the whole crew, the entire guys, sympathizers, I mean, the close friends are all there, having a brilliant time. I'm going to see if I can even share some of the pictures, with you, with regards to what's happening, the current situation right now, them eating, enjoying his dinner. This is the first dinner that Bob Keita is having as a free man after being subjected to very prolonged detention in remand for a criminal trial, that for an allegation that the courts have today acquitted and discharged him of, and have proceeded to deem him not guilty of the offenses that has been charged. So I will just go on to share some of these photos with you. So if you just bear with me a minute, we're trying to bring it on the screen now so that you could see and be part of everything that is actually going on at this particular moment. Really, 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 this is indeed a great time. It's an amazing time. Indeed, it shows that God sits on his throne. It shows that God intervenes. And I just want to say at this point that the music, a lot of people have been sending me messages asking me about the music playing in the background, what we use for the interlude. And of course, it's a song done by Harry Sambu and Harry Nicol and Miss Sambu. Harry Nicol and the name of the lady is Humis Sambu. So you can look them up on YouTube or whatever, wherever they are. I think it's on YouTube, but it's a song, beautiful song. A lot of people have asked me about the music playing in the background. It was done by Harry. So I will just ask the tech team to actually share some of these photos with you, the viewers, so you can see real time what's happening at this very moment. As Bob Keita partakes of his first dinner as a free man with his comrades, his friends, people that have been with him, people that have stood by him. And so really, we are very, very, very happy indeed that we have come to such a conclusion today, and that, you know, this matter is now ended. And we know there's a criminal trial ongoing, which is the state versus Saina Mumbai, with regards to the charge of manslaughter and negligent act causing death. She's charged alongside her brother and a cousin or family friend of theirs, and that matter is ongoing at the High Court in Gambia and before Justice Jaite at the High Court complex in Banjul. So we know that, as a matter of fact, that trial is ongoing, and so probably will be now shifting focus and focusing on that criminal trial. So if you can see the screen, that is Bob Keita and the crew, the boys, having lunch, having dinner in Nene's house at this very minute. The first dinner that he's having with people, his friends, people that have stood by him, people that have been visiting him, people that have been gracing every single court hearing that he has. That he had, and it's just amazing seeing this picture. I think this is what they call there's a word for it in Wolof. Can't even remember. There's a word for it that I wanted to use a word. There's a particular word. I'll just look at the comments. Maybe somebody will comment or say something. It's a word in Wolof. Can somebody just comment and tell me? Jotai? No, it's not Jotai. It's another word. Jotai? No, it's definitely not Jotai. And okay, can somebody just help me and comment? Or you guys don't even know? Probably you don't even know. My Wolof is not as bad as I thought. I mean, I have over 1,000 viewers and nobody can tell me what the word is. Anyways, Nene, what is that? What is the Wolof word for eating together, you know, in a large bowl? Is it jotai?
Mbolo or ndaje?
No. There's another word. You know, when you eat in a bowl together, there's another word they say. There's another word.
I guess your Wolof is better than mine then.
Well, I'm proud of myself that my Wolof is better than yours. Well, we'll leave that for another day. Anyways, Nene Frida Gomez, how are you doing?
I feel tired, but then I'm not tired, honestly. I guess when I lie on my bed, then I will start to feel how exhausted I am. But you can see my voice is almost gone due to the fatigue. But thanks be to God, it's all out of joy. It's all out of celebration. You know, it's all out of good feeling, and you name it. It's just a happy moment, honestly, and moment of thanksgiving, moment of praising God. Everything.
No crying today, so just carry on.
Oh no, I'm good.
Today is a day of celebration. The tears are not. I mean, I should go now, and we should make space for celebration and Thanksgiving. So, Nene, tell me, what was the situation like in court when the results was read out that Bob Keita was not the father of baby Muhammad?
For the first time, I was in a courtroom that nobody could control. They tried so hard, they couldn't control. The first moment was when actually myself and Ellis approached Bob to tell him about what the results are and showed him the report. But again, you know, we were like, okay, the court is packed full.
Can you talk a little bit louder? I think people are struggling to hear you. Can you speak up a little bit?
Let me see whether I can increase my volume. I think my volume is up. I don't know. Maybe I need to check on my technician, Michael, to come. Anyway, my voice is really hoarse. That's why. So what I was saying is the first moment is when myself and Ellis approached Bob, called him to the side to tell him what the results are. Actually, we just handed him over the report, and he read it. He read it. But myself and Ellis were, the courtroom is so packed full, please don't make any reaction. So he tried to not give any reaction and all that. Then everybody was still curious. There's so many speculations. Everybody was tense, just like yesterday. But somewhere down the line, while the proceedings were going on, the process server came in to serve the defense, the nolly that the state had already filed today, because they filed it this morning. So when that was done, you have Ellis hand over the document to Khadija. Khadija walked up to the box to talk to Bob about it, that the state has filed a nolly, right? So at this point in time, there is a huge chance that you're going to go home today. So when Bob smiled from the box, then everybody took it like, oh, it's good news. So that kind of sparked some kind of excitement and celebration. And they had to call the court to order. Everybody else was, quiet and sitting down. I mean, they saw Bob smile, they were all celebrating, even though they don't know why Bob was smiling at that point in time. So the court was called to order and everything, continued. But then at this time when, of course, the judge was doing his gimmicks again, delaying things, writing for 15 minutes and then talking for 10 minutes before allowing the state or the defense to say anything. So you have Patrick, who was really trying to fast track things. That's the state counsel. And, the judge was trying to do something different. And Patrick is like, my lord, this document, it's still ours. We haven't tendered it. And we want to make sure the results are.
Can you stop? Can you stop for a second? Did you just say that Patrick told the court, told Justice S.M. Jallo, that this document is
it's still ours because we have not tendered it as evidence, as exhibit?
The reason why I asked is because, of course, you were with me yesterday and you saw my argument and you've heard my argument that I've made consistently, that when Justice S.M. Jallo said that that document was his and that it will be opened in court, and I kept saying that that document was never in the court's domain. That document was the prosecution's document, and I'm glad that you are now reiterating the fact that Patrick Gomez, the lead state counsel, the senior state counsel in this matter, the lead prosecutor, informed the court, informed Justice Jallo that that document, the DNA results, that evidence containing whatever it was, still belonged to them until it was admitted in evidence, and it was then allowed, and it had gone through the admissibility test, and it was admitted in evidence. I just wanted to say that for the records, for people that are watching, because I know a lot of people sometimes don't understand why I'm hammering on certain things and stuff, but I'm glad that today it came out. I wouldn't say that Patrick had me, because I don't think he watches me, but it's a good thing that he informed the court that that document was theirs and it was the prosecution's document until at that point that it is tendered and admitted in evidence. You can continue, Nene.
So when Patrick did that, like they want to read the results before it is admitted. So the judge was like, okay, we will go ahead and tell everybody what the results are. And Patrick was like, my lord, these results are ours, and I would think the expert should be the one to announce what the results are and be able to explain to the court, dissect what the results are. And the judge is like, no, I'm the judge, I'm going to read it. And after reading it, I'll give it to the expert to go into the substance of what the results are. Patrick insisted like, oh, my lord, no, this is still ours. And I think it's the expert. The judge is like, no, this is the court and I will read it. And when I read it, it doesn't change. So they went back and forth. Eventually, Patrick is like, okay, as the court, wishes, as the court pleases. So the judge was the one that read the report and announced to the court that indeed Bob is not the father. And of course, indeed, Pamodu Jam is not the father. But nobody was interested about what the results is for Pamodu Jom. And when, you know, they read the first page, read the second page, and then came to that sentence, you know, it's like a 3-line, you know, 3-line wording or whatever, 3 sentences. And read Bob is, you know, can be excused as the father. Oh boy, you could see, you should see people started fainting, people were crying, people were screaming, you know, that there was reinforcement of the security into the courtroom. You know, the lawyers were trying to calm people down. Security people were carrying fainted people outside of the court. It was absolute chaos in court at that moment, at that point in time. You know, so they now had to try to put the court back in order, you know, try to ask people to keep quiet and sit down and blah, blah, you know, and all that. Finally, you know, we were able to put, you know, the court was back in order. So now the expert had to now explain the report and everything else to the court. And the part I like, when the expert made it categorically clear that there is no way that Bob could be the father of that baby according to the results that they bring. And it was like that the DNA types, it's 1 in a billion. The chances 1 in a billion. And there was like in court. That was very, very critical that the expert, you know, did that. But then again, after that was done, you know, Patrick closed and the expert was recused or released, for lack, you know, I don't know the legal term that is being used here. And now the judge asked Ellis, are you objecting or whatever? So Ellis stood up and said, my landed senior will, you know, answer to that. So that was when Khadija got up and said, we are happy that the state has filed a nollie. We are happy that the state is discharging, but we are objecting to that because we want an acquittal and discharge, not only discharge. And, you know, she went into the merits of why they think they wouldn't settle for discharge, but acquittal. So Khadija went further to quote or use point of law to tell the judge that even though the state has filed a nollie and asking for a discharge, you as a judge, according to this section, you have the powers to acquit. And we are asking that you use your powers to acquit and discharge, you know, and she went further to argue it and give reasons or justify why. And that was the end. It was a very short one. And the judge was writing and writing and writing again, you know, when he keeps on writing and not stopping.
He loves to write, doesn't he?
He is super slow. He is super slow. You know, that moment that everybody is waiting and you are just writing. And you know, when he writes and then looks at people and looks at people and looks at people while he bends down and writes again. Then he stops and be looking at people right in the eye. And then he turns and be staring at Bob and staring at Bob and staring at Bob. You're wondering like, what is going in your head? But anyways, finally, he read the ruling that, okay, he agrees with the, you know, point of laws that we quoted, and hereby he's using his powers to acquit and discharge. Again, the court just went into, I don't know what.
Ballistic.
Yeah, the court went ballistic, you know, uncontrollable. People were running out and everything else. Then at this point in time, the media personnel barged into the courtroom trying to cover that moment and everything else. The judge had to just get up. The court is, you know, I hereby, you know, the court has ended or whatever he said, and just bow and just walked off. You know, normally when he's bowing, he bows and then be looking at people. If you're not bowing, he calls you out and say, can you bow with me? Because he has done it not once, not twice. But today, at the end of the court, he just bowed and just walked right out and did not even care what was happening in the court.
So do you think from all indications, from all the happenings that happened in court, do you think he achieved his objective of having a replica of a paternity court of a TV reality show in the USA? Did he have that?
Yes,
did he have that moment?
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
He did.
He did, because he insisted that he was the one who was going to read the report. You know, and
so
when
he was successful.
When he read it and the court went into dispute, you can see he was smiling. He was smiling, looking at people and laughing. It was the security people and the court clerks that were telling people to sit down, to do this, to do that. The guy was having a moment, you know, at the point in time.
Oh my
So
God.
definitely he achieved it. He achieved it. Whatever he was looking at, I think he got that moment for
He got it.
out there.
He got
Yeah.
it. And he kept an entire nation in suspense. He got it. He got what he wanted, to be honest. He got what he wanted. But I'm just happy. I'm just happy that everything ended the way it is, so we can all now laugh about it. And hopefully, the powers that be are watching, and certain things that happen that should not happen will, they will ensure that changes will be done. So what happened? Because I know I've explained. I've informed the audience that Bob is in your house right now, and we've showed them pictures of you guys having dinner together. In fact, that was why I was asking for the Wolof word. And my sister just texted me the word that it's called Taj Jor. Taj Jor.
Taj what?
Taj Jor.
Taj door.
I don't know. There's something like that. I saw it from a distance. I can see her message. I can't see properly that far, but Taj, I saw Taj something. Taj Jor or Taj Jor.
I know Taj Jor, like eating together. You know, when you put the
yes,
lunch
that's
on
the
one
word I
bowl
was
and
looking
everybody
for.
sits and eat. Yeah, Taj Jor. I know.
Yes, that's the word. That's the word I was looking
Taj
for.
Jor,
That's the word I was looking for.
Yeah, I mean,
so
it was a long day, a long afternoon after we went to the prisons. You know, it was so quick. They processed the warrant so quick, and the prison officer came with it. You know, but it was so chaotic at the courts. I had to call LS to come. So LS came, and then we were able to get in and process it and walk apart and everything else, and came out. You know, that the whole place was so packed with security. Traffic was diverted. Traffic was so, held up. And we left. When we left, I don't know how many hours it took us from the prison's gate to Bob's mother's house. You know, people were lined up on the streets, school children, people getting off their taxis, their cars, coming out there to just wave at Bob, to shake his hand. Honestly, memorable moments that nobody is going to forget. When we got to Westfield, we just could not move. Traffic was just blocked. We passed Westfield, went to Churchillstown, the same thing. We went to Latakunda Market, massive. There we spent a lot of time. All of a sudden, we saw a whole vehicle of police officers and paramilitary that came to help us get our way through Latakunda, that place.
Are you
Everybody
serious?
came out of the market. The street was packed full. I am not exaggerating. The pictures and the videos are there
Yes, I've seen them. Exactly. I've seen them. I've been sharing them.
They had to come to help us. Otherwise, we were just stuck, and people would just not move. So we were there until we got to Tabokoto, and turning into the street to Bob's house, Bob's mom's house. Oh my God, it was crazy. It's a very short distance, but it took us a long time. We got to that street for Bob to get off the car because the car could not get to the gate. And we tried it, Bob get off the car. Oh my God, they almost smashed this boy, like a tissue. And these guys had to rush him and got him and put him back in the car. And the car was trying to drive to the other junction. People followed the car. They went on top of the car, by the car. It was just crazy, honestly. And then we had to wait for almost 2.5 hours for Bob to get off the car because we are trying to arrange the crowd. Finally, we said he had to come down because the mom was waiting for too long and it's unbearable. We said, come down. And the guys tried to control the crowd for Bob to come out, and it was uncontrollable. They had to carry Bob up from the crowd to take him back to the car because Bob was almost passing out. He was like suffocating because of the crowd and the heat. He was suffocating. So that's why they had to rush him to the car, put the AC on, and people wouldn't just get off the car. So at that point in time, because it was like we were all getting scared, his condition, I was like, okay, I spoke to the mom. The mom was like, can we take him somewhere so that he can rest and all that thing? So I was like, okay, now, then he was the one that's like, let's go to your house, you understand? And I'm hungry as well. So that's when I just called home and said, okay, put the AC house, blast the AC in the old house. I'm coming with Bob. And you know what? Ordered dinner. And then we came. And of course, all these friends of his, very good friends of his, they were all with us. So they all joined us. We came home, you know, chatted, eat, drink, and all that, you understand? So, and that's why I was late because, you know, and as we sit there, people were coming and coming and coming. You know what? For some reason, my house is known to people because I live in a private place that a lot of people don't know. I do my politics and my, you know, public things at my family house, not at my own private, you know, personal house. So for some reason, people were just coming and wondering, how did they know my house? How did they know my house? Were they following us?
Google Map. Google Map.
I know, exactly. Maybe somebody must have given them the number on my door and then they used the Google map. So we were just downstairs eating and drinking and chatting, you know, and just reminiscing about the whole journey from the courtroom, what the judge was doing yesterday and today, and we're just laughing about it. So we're just having a blast downstairs.
Mm. Is he coming up? Is Bob coming up? Is Kex coming up? What is the situation?
I don't know because I left all of them downstairs. I don't know.
Can you scream and yell for Kex to come on?
They wouldn't hear me if I scream. I will have to get up.
Okay, Ron, I give you 1 minute.
I can't hear you.
I said I give you 1 minute. Ron, for it.
Okay, let me mute and let me mute and call Michael to help.
Anyways, guys, that was Nene Frida Gomez, and I guess you all heard her explain the moment, the atmosphere in the High Court of the Gambia, and of course the journey to Mile 2 to process Bob and have him you know, be discharged from the remand wing of Mile 2, and then the journey to his mother's house. I mean, it was so emotional listening to Nene. You could actually feel, you know, what she's describing. You just wish that, you know, you were there to experience and witness such an amazing moment, an amazing time. But we definitely thank God that we have been, you know, we have come this far. She's gonna run downstairs to see if she can get Keksane or Bob. I don't know. I'm sure Bob has a lot of people around there. So I mean, if I'm you know, I'm not too bothered. I'm not bothered with these things. So if he can't really join us now, we can understand that. I mean, he's under pressure. He's tired. I mean, I don't even know what he would say. You know, he can't really say much. It probably would be nice for people to see him, but I guess everybody has seen him sufficiently. So really, now I don't think anything could be said other than just show his face. You know, you don't want to tire him too much. He's gone through a whole lot. But I would like Keksane to join us just like he did yesterday. So we're hoping and praying that well, Keksane is not busy, so he better come up here. The crying Kex is gonna come upstairs and say something. So we're just waiting for that to happen. But really, it's been an amazing time, an amazing time. Is Kex around?
Kex is outside in the street, and Bob said he doesn't want to
hear
cry.
you.
He doesn't want to cry.
I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
I can't hear you anymore.
Oh my God. Can you hear me now?
I cannot hear you. We can't hear Nene. I can't hear you. We seem to have lost you. The reception is pretty bad. I can see you, but I can't hear what you're saying.
Can you hear me now?
Can you try speaking up? Maybe the audience can hear you. I just can't hear you.
Can you hear me?
Can you guys hear Nene? Oh, they're saying they can hear you. I'm the one that can't hear you. They're saying they can hear you.
Oh, okay. No, I was saying Kex is out in the street, and Bob is not comfortable coming. He said he doesn't want to cry on camera.
Okay, I don't know how I'm going to do this because I can't hear you, so I don't know how I'm going to respond to, because I don't know what you're saying. I have absolutely no idea what you're saying.
That's a problem.
So can you guys hear me then? And can you send me a message and just tell me what it is that you were saying? Because I can't hear you. I don't even know if people can hear me anymore. Okay, so you guys can hear me as well, but it's just that I can't hear Nene. So I don't know what Nene said. So I don't even know how to respond or what to say at this point. If somebody can just comment and tell me what was it that Nene said. Okay, I just got Nene's message. He said Bob says he doesn't want to cry. Hold on a second. I'm just responding to Nene. Okay, so basically what Nene just sent to me a message. She said what she was trying to say was that Bob was saying that he's embarrassed and he doesn't want to come online and cry, and he's very emotional right now, which I absolutely understand. Apparently Kexane is outside smoking, so really I think that is it. So we're gonna see if we can get Nene back, and then we'll just wrap up. I mean, to be honest, there's not much. I don't like repeating myself, so anything I say now will be, just being repetitive, and I don't want that. We have exhausted this issue. We have delved into it. We have deep dived. We have analyzed. We have looked at things critically from all angles, and definitely, I feel this is just what it is. This is just what it is, to be honest. And we are really at the end, and we just want to say thank you, want to give God all the glory, because I believe from what we saw, from how this matter started, the trajectory it was going on, the path that it took, you could definitely tell that it was God that intervened. Nothing couldn't have happened without God. I firmly believe that it was God that came through, that it was God that made it happen. And I absolutely, absolutely, absolutely believe that, quite honestly, really, this is God. This is God. It is God. It is God, and nobody else. So we just want to give glory to God. We just want to say thank you, God, for answered prayers. We just want to say thank you to everybody that contributed in one way. People were praying in churches. People were praying in mosques. People were praying in prayer groups. I just want to say thank you to every single person, every single one that came together and prayed and came together to ensure that we are really where we are today, with a very successful outcome of this matter, and a very we have come to the logical and legal end and conclusion of this matter. The state, in the matter of Bob Keita and the state, it has come to an end, and Bob Keita was found not guilty. He was acquitted and discharged by the High Court of the Gambia, meaning that he is not guilty of the offense, meaning that he's a free man, meaning that he is now ready to go on and sort his business and do whatever it is that he's got to do. So we hope that people will now probably give him some space. I know It's difficult in a setting in Gambia, but he would probably need some space to carry on and do things, spend time with his mother, his family, loved ones, and just be able to do things as it is. I know he's watching. I know he's downstairs in Nene's house and he's watching. And I have always said that I am going to do this today. It's always been on my mind that if God allows us to come to this point, I was going to give him a public advice. The advice that I would give him one-on-one is different, but I'm going to give him a public advice. And the public advice I would give to him, to the hearing of everyone, so that people can say and tell him and remind him if he forgets, is that he should never allow himself to drown. In fact, I'm going to say, I know I talk very fast, so probably I should say this very slowly so that it is well digested. He should never, ever allow himself to drown in the publicity, in the atmosphere of celebrity status. He should never allow himself to drown in the noise. He should continue to be the person that he is, the character that he has, that actually allowed people to love and care for him. Let him not allow the hype of the moment to change him or change his personality or change his character. That would be my first advice. Be you, continue to be you, because you live in a society where they are very unique. So the people that you're seeing now shouting hallelujah, within the twinkle of an eye, they can turn around and shout, crucify him. And you will be shocked. And you would ask yourself, are these the same people that were shouting hallelujah a few days ago? So carry yourself with dignity. Carry yourself in a manner that is consistent to who you are as a person, to the values that have been instilled in you by your family, your mother, and everybody else around you. Don't let the hype get to you. Yes, there are all those people that would want to come now with flowery stories and telling you things, or I did this, I did that, or this is what I did. You know what? Who did not do what is irrelevant at this point. What is relevant is the fact that you have come out, you have emerged from this victorious. That is what is relevant. So anybody that comes to you to tell you that this is my contribution, this is what I did, this is what I did, this is who I spoke to, this is what I tried to do, I tried to spin things that way, do not listen and do not fall for it. It is irrelevant at this point. What is relevant is the fact that you have emerged from this victorious through the grace and mercy of God and nothing else. It is not by your power, it is not by your own might, it is only by the grace of God. Only by the grace of God. So I will implore you to continue being the person that you are, and do not allow yourself to drown in the hype and the noise and the celebrity status and whatever attention that you're getting right now. That would be my number one advice. The second advice I would give you is, do not be fooled. Do not let anyone tell you. Now, I want you to digest, and I want the people around you to digest and take in a very, because what I'm saying is very critical. I don't want you to distort my words. I don't want you to misconstrue my words. Neither I don't want you to have a misconception of what I'm saying. But what I am going to say is, do not let what you're seeing outside in the society and people clapping for you and jubilating make you or allow anybody to convince you to get into politics or run for political office simply on the basis of the crowd that you saw today. Yes, people have sympathized with you. People have identified themselves with you, but do not let it fool you. Do not let it fool you, and do not let it get to your head, and don't allow anybody to convince you to use that as a yardstick, to use that as a springboard to tell you that you should run for political office, because you will be shocked. So that's the second thing I'm going to tell you. Be yourself. If the time comes when you feel you want to run for political office, You feel you have the political maturity. You feel you have the maturity. You feel you are at a position whereby you can execute the functions of whatever office you want to run for. Then you can. By all means, it is your democratic right. It is your constitutional right to run for office. But make sure that when you get to that point, you are adequate. You have prepared yourself both mentally, physically, and emotionally, and that you're politically mature to get into whatever it is that you want to get to. The third thing I want to tell you, even though it's going to be hard, even though people will not ordinarily agree, but I would implore you to forgive, move on, let go. God has fought your battle. God has fought for you, and God has vindicated you publicly in a way and manner that cannot be questioned by any man. If, for example, the DNA result had said that it was the boyfriend, today, Gambia would have been divided. We would have had two camps. The camps that would say, yes, the result is authentic, it's credible, and the camps that would say it has been switched. If the result was positive for the boyfriend, people would say it was switched, that they're trying to frame the boyfriend, that the state was bowing down under pressure to see Bob go free. If it was reversed, that Bob was found to be the father, people would have said that this was what was going on. The state was doing everything they can to frame Bob. But today, God has ordered his way, and God has shown himself in a very supreme way, whereby the results have determined that neither you nor neither the boyfriend is the father. It has brought a logical conclusion to the point that nobody, even your enemies, cannot come up with a position. Your enemies cannot come. The feminist movement cannot come. They cannot say nothing. They've been silent. They've been mute. Your enemies are quiet. And I will implore, and I will tell you, I'm not going to tell you what decision to take with regards of your dealing with your ex-wife and other things that are surrounding it. That is not my business. That is your decision to make. But what I am going to tell you is, allow God that has vindicated you to settle scores. Because when God settles scores, my brother, I can tell you, you'll be happy and you'll be satisfied. This is all I've got to say. And you're probably not even going to talk to me this week. I have no business saying anything to you. Everything I've wanted to say to you, we have talked about over the years. I have nothing to say to you. Nothing else to tell you. Don't call my phone. You don't have to. Spend time with your mom. Do whatever you got to do. By the end of the month or whatever time you can reach out, you have my number. We've been talking. You know that all the time. So be who you are. Continue to be the person that believes and leaves everything in the hands of God. Just as you have said at every time, every opportunity, you have said that you continue to trust God. You trust in your innocence, and you leave everything to God. When I speak to your mom, it's the same thing she tells me. I leave everything to God. And I'm telling you now that God has vindicated you. Do not even try to take the credit. Just leave everything to God, as you have been leaving everything to God, and God has brought you this far. This is all I got to say to you. As a brother, as a friend, you owe me nothing. I did nothing. To be honest, I give God all the glory. I thank every single person that was doing everything. I've said this to everyone that have contacted me, that I've done nothing. All I've done is just do what I would ordinarily do for any other person anyways, who's my friend, a person who I believe in. I will do it. And those that know me know that when I hold a person, I would go through anything for that particular person. So I've done nothing. All the credit goes to the Gambian people that have stood up, the public that have stood up and wanting to see that justice is done. They wanted to see justice done in a very fair, in a very transparent, and a very effective manner. They have all the credit. Ajifanta, I mean, even people that were not there in the very start, because all honesty is when this matter started, Ajifanta was in there, Ajay was in there. A lot of people were not there, but they came on board and they changed the dynamics, and that's the fact. They came on board, they changed the dynamics. So saying a huge thank you to Ajay, a huge thank you for relentlessly pursuing this matter. Saying Abu Ture, a big thank you. Ndei Fatima Jame, a big thank you. Awaseka, sometimes I was even tired of seeing Awaseka's posts. I mean, Ajifanta, I was like wondering, okay, Ajifanta, are you ever going to stop doing lives? Are you ever going to get tired? Keksane, phenomenal. In fact, I would say that because of Keksane, this case did not die because he kept updating. I am doing my part, but I am not in the Gambia. Yes, there were moments and times that I was getting information directly from Bob, so I could take position from Bob. But when his liberty was curtailed and I couldn't reach him, Keksane was reporting and bringing this thing live to the forefront. So people like that, we're saying thank you, and to every single person, Mama Sally, Juka, you know, coming on, Juka would say, I don't know Bob, I've never met him. Dr. J, you know, a lot of people. In fact, that reminds me that I was supposed, Dr. J wanted to be on this program. She actually begged me, asked me that she would want to say something. So probably I'll have to come up again so that she can say something. But just to say thank you to you all. You guys have done it. I mean, all the credit goes to you. And I say thank you very much. And like I've always said, I'm just a little fish in a larger big pond. I don't know it all. I always constantly am asking. I mean, I am not ashamed to ask people when I don't know. I don't believe anyone has a monopoly on knowledge. People learn every day. I learn every day, and we'll continue to do this. So thank you very much. You probably won't see me on social media for another week. I'm taking an active pause from social media. I'm not going to comment. I'm not going to respond to comments. I'm not going to react to anything. I'm not going to post anything. This is it for me, at least for the next week, or at least for a week at least. I know a lot of people are asking me about the Sainabou Mbaye matter, but for now, I mean, I'll probably be doing my whatever through a proxy, but I'm going to take a rest for this week and just savor the moment, just thank God for everything that he has done, and just maybe try to focus on myself or my family that I have a bit, neglected a bit because I was pursuing this matter. So thank you very much, everyone. Thank you so much. Thank you, and thank you again. And may God continue to guide us all, protect us all, and may we all maximize the best of our profitable potential in a better Gambia, in a Gambia that is free, in a Gambia that is equitable, in a Gambia that would allow us all to thrive equally and equitably, and without being suppressed by virtue of our political leaning or our cultural background or our ethnic association or whatever it is, but a Gambia that would be for all, a Gambia where everybody would be able to live freely and enjoy the benefits collectively as a nation and as a country. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And do have a pleasant night. Thank you, and thank you again.
Gambia with Tamala, the fi Amamut Fenen. Sama mam that I'm a one night, Jamareka war. When you're Papolo, don't bena, can do your moon dara. Reume soon you reula, and yepa and the joke. Nunglinyan, Jama Sassa soon you reu. Sapante to Japante, Moy soon you are. Burialan you, Delinyan, the summer soon you dig and take. Yepaman could it on a pen, Lolu, laughing mommy by you born. Yepaman could it on a pen and get jamu, Gambia.
Jotali makas bilel tanghal masindal biwai bonyi be nga nuyul masa papa wai oyal ma aji wako mata nena awane ñu magal tobas kiji wai genaaw elek noel su passé ba ñu tek ci ñaari semaine sang marila tam lolu lañ fi xam ben baat lolu lañu am juróom ñaari nit ci ben bool lolu lañu xam arjodo ga tambi nang nuyul masa papa ankira jam bul ma jam jama lañ fi am amut hette amut diine lolu lañ fi bayi won dama ne lolu lañ fi bayi won
Mami Nasama sunya digante. Yepamang puti dono ben lolu. Love your mommy by you born. Yepamang puti dono ben nangijamo Gambia. Yulenyan, jama sasa sunya reu. Sopante te japante, moi sunya ware. We are new, Yulenyan, nasama sunya digante. Yepamang puti dono ben lolu. Love your mommy by you born. Yepamang puti dono ben nangijamo Gambia.